Hi guys, so today I am back with a video just sharing my experience that I had with magic mushrooms. So before I even get started, I would like to say if there's anybody out there who plans to um, experience multiple plant medicines, I would highly suggest that you spread them a good amount of space apart so that you can integrate your experience with one and then move along to the other and have that experience and integrate that experience. And I say that because the plant medicines themselves, I believe that they stay in your system for a certain amount of time. And if you're doing multiple plant medicines, they can possibly have an effect on the experience that you have with one or the other, if that makes any sense. So basically what happened was whenever I did mine, I had did shrooms kind of right after I did San Pedro. So San Pedro is a cactus. It's a plant medicine that comes from a cactus. Now with that experience, it was amazing. It was bliss. It was just like a really good, perfect experience for me. However, when I did the magic mushrooms, basically like 24 hours after that, I had a really hard time with it. Like I'll say it was a good experience in the sense of I got a lot of good information from it, but it was kind of a challenge it was a challenging experience. So what happened was, like, I was in Florida some months ago, and I decided that I was going to do both plant medicines. Anyway, so the day I decided to do the magic mushrooms, the strain that I had was blue meanies mixed with penis envy. And I decided that I was going to go to the beach, and I had 3 grams that I did. So that morning I woke up at like 6 a.m. It took like 50 minutes to get to the beach. I drove to the beach from the Airbnb I was staying at. And when I got to the beach, I found I found just a spot on the beach, and I laid my towel down. And it was kind of cold that morning, like in the high 60s, very low 70s. So I just laid my towel out, and I had like a hoodie on, and I just laid on my hoodie. I mean, not laid on my hoodie, but laid on my towel. And that was after taking the actual mushrooms. So I took the mushrooms and I ate an apple because I didn't have anything on my stomach at all that morning. So I'll say it took about 30 minutes to go into the actual experience. So as I was laying on the beach with my eyes closed, 30 minutes into it, I just immediately went into the experience. Now, I would say initially, I had like these expectations, which you should never go into anything with, I guess, expectations, because you don't want to end up being disappointed. I was a little bit disappointed, but I got what I needed out of it. So I thought I was just gonna have like this magical, beautiful experience where I could see like the ground breathing and the consciousness in the ocean and all of that. It was nothing like that. So what happened was, immediately when I went into my experience, what I first experienced was I felt like I was being held. Like I felt like I was being held and hugged, and I was being told that I am loved and that they are proud of me. When I say they, the spirits, I don't know. They were proud of me and that they love me, and they were just reminding me that I am loved, and I was just really being like, I felt like I was being held and hugged. So that was the very beginning. Right after that, I just remember seeing like an image of this Black woman. I didn't recognize her face or anything, but I was just like kind of watching her as she was doing these gestures as if like she was really like angry. And she was very aggressive, and it was really like disturbing to me. So as I was in that experience, just like kind of watching and trying to figure out what was going on. Like at first I saw her and it was just repeating itself. Like she was just, I could just see and I could feel like how angry she was, and like the aggression, and I was able to also feel her pain. So, and then a little after that, like I saw like a child, and basically with the scene, the next scene represented was, well, sorry, I'll talk about the first scene. So the first scene that I saw, I was told that the black lady that I saw, that represented like how black women have gone like hundreds and hundreds of years of like just suffering through pain and anger, and just basically like how much pain and anger that they were like suffering through for so long. And when I seen like the image of like the child, and she was like really being aggressive with the child, it was like that represented like how some of them are projecting their anger and aggression from the pain that they have onto their children. And that did resonate with me in the sense of like my mom, she was never like a bad mom or anything, but you know, she grew up as a black woman and she was a single mom. So and I'm sure she had a lot of stress and depression or whatever that she was going through. And I'll say that a lot of it was like projected onto me and my sister. Like we got yelled at all the time for, it was just always yelling, basically. And we were affected by that. But anyway, moving forward, beyond that, I was being told like after that, that by me choosing to lighten my load, that like sends a vibration throughout the collective, that they too, and when I say they, it could be black women, it could be women or men of any race or any culture. It sends a vibration throughout the collective that they too, when I say they, anybody who's carrying baggage, that they too can lighten their load, and that they can live a happy life and just release all of the pain and whatever else, you know, they're carrying around that they need to let go of. So basically, not just me, but anybody out there who is choosing to do healing and lighten their load, like you're not just helping yourself, you're helping the collective, you're helping your family, you're helping your ancestors, you're helping, like we're all one, so you're helping everybody else who is experiencing things that you have experienced. So basically that was the message from that. And then I'll say a little bit after that, I was like laying there for a while, and somebody started playing like loud music. And at this point, I don't even think, there wasn't even a lot of people out there at the beach, but like more people sporadically just started coming as like time went by. So somebody started playing loud music, and it was like really irritating me. So I came to the conclusion, I'm like, all right, it's like either you lay here, continue staying here and laying here and suffering through it, or you move. So I decided to pick up my items, and I left and like found a different location to lay at. But throughout that the process of my journey itself, it felt as if it was just hard, it was difficult. If I felt like I was potentially picking up on the vibrations of like everybody around me, and people weren't even like close to me. Like I had enough space this time around where I was like a good distance away from other people. However, it really felt like I was picking up on other people's vibrations, because it felt kind of it felt like just kind of chaotic, right? So after that, the next thing that I experienced was I had to go back to my inner child. And I'll say that was the most difficult part that I experienced during my journey, because during that time, I had learned, like, even though I grew up, as an adult, like, when I look back, I'm like, I knew that I didn't, like, there wasn't much affection in my household going around, but I didn't particularly know that I wasn't nurtured as a child, because I never, like, thought of it that way. I never really looked at it or paid attention to that much. So during that process, I learned that I was never nurtured as a child, and that really, like, broke my heart. It made me feel so sad, because I'm just like, every child deserves to be, like, loved on and nurtured and kissed and hugged and stuff like that. But anyway, I was told that, like, the adults that were in my life, like, it wasn't that they didn't love me, it was just that they had no idea how to nurture on a physical level, because they themselves were never nurtured either. So I had to, like, spend some time, like, crying and healing through that. And right after, like, those moments, I was met by my star family. So during that time, it was so interesting, because it was like I finally got a chance to discover, like, who my star family was. And I found that it was the Pleiadians. So immediately when they popped up, now this whole time I had my eyes closed, but immediately when they popped up, it was like this inner knowing, and I just started crying. Like, I was just crying. And they basically just were revealing to me that they are my star family, and that they were basically there to assist me through my challenging journey. And we were kind of just conversing back and forth telepathically. And it was interesting that was revealed to me then, because prior to then, it was like I always knew I was a star seed. I guess it just wasn't time for me to know yet, because I had other things that I needed to focus on and heal from. So, like, prior to that, the only clues that I got was, like, during my first hypnosis session that I got, basically, it was confirmed that I do have a star family, and that they're always there for me and all of that. And then the next experience that I had, well, no, that was actually the second experience. The first experience that I had was when I did ayahuasca back in 2021. And at one point during my journey, like, there was a woman who was across from me, and she was looking at me, but at the time I had my eyes closed, and she said she saw a bunch of, like, different color lights coming out of my body, and it was like blue, white, and, like, gold lights just shooting out of my body. And she was like, I thought you were just, like, connecting with your home planet or whatever. And it all makes sense now, because, like, they're the colors that I've ever seen for the Pleiadians, or they were, as far as I know, well, the images that I saw, like, they were blue. They have, from what I saw, gold colored hair, and then they look Caucasian. I don't know if that's what they really look like, or that's just how they portray themselves to look, so that a humanoid version of themselves. I don't know. None of that really matters. But anyway, just all those things that I experienced, like, there were other things too, other clues that were thrown in over time, but I'm like, okay, it all makes sense now. So, let's see, after I met with them and was talking with them, I ended up, give me a minute. Like, my mind itself, like, it wasn't at ease. It just felt like, yeah, I received, like, comfort and stuff from them, but it just felt a little chaotic. And it could have potentially been like, okay, the mixture of the San Pedro a day ahead of time and then moving right into the mushrooms. Or it could have also been the fact that, like, some weeks prior to that, like, I was feeling, like, anxious, like, Like I was like getting anxiety for some reason. So that could be a part of it as well. I don't know. But after that, like I was just kind of like sitting on the beach. Oh no. Sorry, let me go back to the part where when I was learning that like I was never nurtured as a child. So basically, what they told me was, you know, my family or the adults in my life, it wasn't that they didn't love me, they just didn't know how to nurture on a physical level. So I was told that's why my son, who is 5 now, that's why he was sent to me so that I can be nurtured, which is crazy. And I was just like, I had a hard time with that because I was like, dang, that's messed up. Like, why should it be a little boy's job to like nurture his grown adult mom? Like, that's crazy. Like, that shouldn't be his responsibility. But I will say, like, ever since like he's came into my life, like he has been so loving, so nurturing. Like I learned that he was actually the first human being to like nurture me on a genuine loving level. And there's been like countless times where like I was going through something. It was almost like he knew, like he had this inner knowing, and then he would like come to me and say something that he things that I would say to myself that he would have no clue about because I never said them to him or in front of him. But he would always, like, even now, like he still always just gives me love, hugs, kisses, compliments all the time, and I'm so grateful for him. But moving past that, but I was told that he was sent here specifically for me so that I could receive those things, which I'm so grateful for. But moving forward, after all of that happened, I was just kind of just laying there having a hard time. And then I decided to like, I opened my eyes and I got up and I was like, okay. At first I was sitting there. I didn't really want to go in the water because I just wasn't feeling that great. But I was like, you know what, I'm here. Let me just go ahead and get in the water. So I got in the water, and this time like the waves were just very like aggressive. They were like smacking me so hard. I was being pushed all the way down to the other end of the beach, and I just didn't know because I was like moving little by little, and I was in the water for like a couple hours. So by the time I got out, I was like kind of far away from where my actual items were on the beach. So but while I was in the water, I will say that I was receiving like information within each wave. It was just like wisdom and knowledge. Being like every time a wave would hit me, it felt like it was like filled with knowledge, and I was just kind of, I was asking questions and I was receiving answers. The only things that I can remember off the top of my head that I could share is like that there's no power within control. Like true power comes from like surrendering. I don't know what the exact words, but the main point was there's no power within control. Anytime you're trying to control something or someone, like it's there's no power within it basically. And also another thing that I can share that I can remember is that like I was kind of asking about like the new earth and stuff, and like how we can create like this world that we want to see. And they were basically just saying visualize it, like visualize people eating healthy, visualize people growing their own foods, visualizing people using natural remedies to heal themselves or using their minds to heal themselves, visualize people gathering and meditating, and just it was all about just visualization. I'm like, okay, that makes a whole lot of sense. And that was really all that I could remember from that experience. Like I wrote things down, but a lot of it was just like personal stuff. But while it was a challenging experience, I will say that it was very enlightening at the same time, and I did receive a lot of healing from it. So I am very grateful for that. The trip itself, like you figure I started at like 7 a.m. It was, I would say I was out of it by like 2 p.m. It was done. But I will say during that time I was on 3 grams. I was completely coherent. I was fine to do what I needed to do. I was aware. I was safe. And that's that. Before going into it, I was a little nervous because I'm like, I want to make sure I'm safe since I'm going to be around water. But with both experiences that I had that week, I was completely safe, completely fine, coherent, as coherent as I needed to be, and I was good. But that is the end of my story. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a beautiful day.